Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So recently I listened to a podcast from a Galaxy of Zeros where they took, 7 to 8, I think, different YouTube creators and ranked their SWGOH farming guides, critiqued them and ranked them. And I thought it was pretty interesting. They had some good points. So putting out farming guides seems to be something very popular for different creators. Like a lot of people put out obviously their 2023 guides. I've noticed in the last month and a half, some of these same people have put out additional guides. I have a feeling they probably listened to that podcast as well and saw how much these guys roasted them and decided to change it up a bit. So I definitely noticed that. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to take a stab at kind of making a guide on how to make a farming guide for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So this is, hopefully going to be a pretty short video, not too long. But I just wanted to go through, a couple of what I feel are the key tips and the key things you need to consider when you're making a guide for this game. So let's go ahead and go to it. I have a couple of slides that I made here. So the first thing, the most important thing when making this video, really any video, is coming up with a clear objective. What is the reason that you're making this video for, and making sure that's very clear to the audience that you have. A lot of these critiques of these farming guides that were out there, where basically there was not really a direction given. Like there wasn't anything that these guys were trying to accomplish when they put together their guide. So clear objective, and some of the things this includes is going to be, what is the target audience that you have? So are these, free to play players? Is this guide for free to play? Is this for, pay to play or whales? Is it for everybody? I mean, I think this game in general, the concepts that you have of building your roster, they apply to everybody. Obviously, if you're free to play, maybe it takes you a bit longer to get there. It takes you a bit longer to start your income stream versus if you're someone that's just whaling. But in general, the concepts are the same, trying to be efficient. Is the guide going to be for, a brand new player to the game? Is it going to be for maybe a veteran player that's just creating a new alternate account or restarting their account? Maybe it's somebody that played since launch and then they took a break, 3 years ago, they decided to get back into it. So, making sure that you understand what is the guide for. Is it a mid or a late game guide? So most of these guides I think are geared towards new accounts. But I think it would be interesting to see some more mid-tier, late-game roster building accounts. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of big creators that are all, 9, 10 plus million GP. They're showing you, how to build rosters with all the new fancy toys. There's a lot of people showing you how to build a new account, but I think we're missing right now in the community how to kind of build that mid game account moving into late game. So maybe it's something I'll take a stab at in the future. And then, is the account going to be guild focused? So are you going to be, building these teams to help out your guild, whether it be territory wars, territory battle, or the different raids? Obviously, with the Crate Dragon raid, coming out, that's going to be important in the future. For new accounts, probably going to be a bit of time before you get there. Or is it really like personal focus? Like, do you want to just build it for yourself? Do you want to focus on Grand Arena, which is a PvP event that's really focused on you? Obviously, helps you get more income to build for the future. But understanding, is the guide really focused on helping to build an account to help the guild, or to help the player themselves, like Grand Arena focused again, or somewhere balanced in the middle? And then having like a very clear timeline on how long is this guide going to take you? Is it going to be for getting you from level 1 to level 85, which is going to take, 3 to 4 months? Is it, is it going to take you to your first Galactic Legend? Is it going to take you to, your first 2 Galactic Legends? What is the timeline here? Obviously, again, like I said, getting to level 85 free to play is going to take you 3 to 4 months. Then that's really when the fun starts. Once you're at level 85, you open up a lot of things. So understanding, what is the timeline that a player can expect when they're watching or reading your guide. Next, I want to go through a few of the key things I think you should include, and then after that, we'll touch on some things I think you should definitely exclude from your guide. So, again, these are things that I think are very critical to include in any guide, whether it's again for a brand new player, for a mid-game account, etc. So, first is the importance of fleet in this game. And the importance of fleet, I think it keeps on growing and growing. Obviously, we have the fleet arena, and that's where a lot of the crystals are going to come from, especially for a free to play player. getting up to 400 crystals per day by getting first in Fleet Arena. So it's really key that you focus there. This also translates, if you can have very strong fleets, especially early, will help you in Grand Arena. The more you have, the stronger they are, will definitely help you advance there. So importance of fleet, I think, is huge in this game. As of recording this, they've announced the new Leviathan capital ship. So we need to really wait and see what the requirements are going to be for that. Probably and almost definitely, this is going to be a fleet that any new account, new player is not going to go for right away, unless you're like a huge whale. I mean, just the GP requirements to have access to characters like Malgus, which are going to be required, is 4 million. So this is something that a new player is not going to go to. So please don't put you should rush to the Leviathan fleet as a new account. Like it's just not going to happen. Another thing, also on Fleet is the importance of the Zeta Mat challenge. So when you reach level, I think 78, and you can start having Zeta. So again, if you're a non-hyperdrive player, you're building up, you really have to make sure that you're ready for Fleet when it opens at level 60. So you have some ships, you have some pilots ready to go, and then you have the right ships built to the right star levels for when you reach level 78, and you can start doing this Zeta Mat challenge. So I think that's really key on any guide to highlight that. The next thing is, the importance of building for income of your account. So if you want to advance, you need to have the resources. This is a resource management game at heart. So one is, again, on fleet, building for your fleet so you can get the crystals, but then also building the teams you need for things like the assault battles, the galactic challenges, and those things. So there's some core teams that are required, 4 or 5 different ones. You want to build them to the levels that you can actually start getting at least the challenge tier 1 on the assault battle. Some of them will be able to go a bit higher at lower gear. So I think that's key. You want to have that good base on your account so you can actually get resources in to continue to build. And then, going on that, there's a few core teams are really building the base of your roster. You want to have a solid base. You don't want to just really rush straight for a Galactic Legend. You can, and I think it's probably smart to go for a Galactic Legend, pretty early. But you want to really build a base for first. Now, do you need to build all of these, so-called 8 core teams like some creators say? In my opinion, probably not. But there's definitely some you need to build out. Again, you need to kind of have a Rebels team. You need to have an Empire team. You need to have a Jedi team. So these are 4 assault battles that you really need. Bounty Hunters is another one. So you can build 4 to 5 kind of core teams at various gear levels. I think it depends on the guide and where you want to take it. But I don't think you need to go for all 8 of these core teams that people have. But you definitely need to build a base. And then another important thing to include is really, the focus and the importance of what you do with your Get 1 and your Get 2. So your guild event token currency 1 and 2, and also on, the shipments. You don't need to really have go through every single store and shipments and say like, okay, these are exactly the things you need to buy. But you need to have some general guidance included on, what you should be saving for, what you should be buying. So Get 1 and Get 2, definitely save this up. Get 2 should always be used on the Malevolence, most likely the Malevolence first, and then Negotiator. Don't spend it on gear until you have those 2 at 7 stars. Get 1, really don't spend this on gear for a very long time. There's so many things you need from that store. You need Wampa, you need Hoda, both for Jedi Master Luke. If you're going for gas, you need to have that to 7-star him. Same for Malik, etc. So there's a lot of things you need to get with Get 1 before you can really start affording to spend it on gear. And I think new players probably see this gear that they're needed, especially when they start to get to level 85 and they use it, whereas they should just hoard these up. Same on shipments. Again, give some general guidance, how you should focus your Cantina currency, how you should focus your guild currency, guild activity currency, what you should do with shard shop. I think these are important. Again, maybe not, you don't have to go into super detail just to keep the video length a bit shorter. I think a good idea is to give some guidance on where you should be as far as GP. So again, I've been playing this game for about 2.5 years. I'm at just under 6.5 million GP. So a little bit less than 3 million GP per year is what I've been able to get. And again, I've spent money on the game. So I think if you're starting now, you can probably expect to be 2.3 to 2.5 million GP per year as you're building up your roster. It'll go faster at the start, especially when you start unlocking fleets, they add a lot of GP to your account. But why this is important is because there's a lot of things in this game that are currently gated by 4 million GP. So you have to be at 4 million GP before you can access this like hard conquest, where you can start to get all of these conquest characters quicker. And then obviously the older conquest characters that are now in Proving Grounds, you have to be at 4 million before you can access Proving Grounds. And then once you access that, if you're not refreshing, it's going to take you like 17 months once you're at 4 million to unlock that character. If you refresh, I think you can push it to 6 months, but it's going to be very expensive on crystals. So that's just the importance of GP. I think if you're again, if you're thinking you're going to get 2.5 million GP per year, you'll probably be around 4 million after the 1.5 year mark. So just keep that in mind. Don't look at these guides. They're telling you to go for um, Malgus right away. They're telling you to go after, Commander Ahsoka Tano for JMK for your first GL. It's just not feasible. It's just going to take you so long as a new account to get to that threshold. So keep that in mind. And then I think another important thing is just, we mentioned some of these characters like Cat and Malgus, which are not really reasonable for new accounts to go for. But what are the key journey characters you should get early? I mean, obviously, on the Rebel side, you have Commander Luke, you have Chewbacca, you have C-3PO. These lead to a lot of different unlocks needed for Galactic Legends. You have Darth Revan, you have Jedi Knight Revan, you have Malak. So what are the key ones that you should be going through? I mean, you don't need to be going for all of the journey characters, first. There's some that you can probably skip and then come back to later. Again, it goes back to, do you need all 8 of these core teams? In my opinion, no. So some of them I think you can skip until after you start getting some Galactic Legends. And then I think, again, you should include probably the first 2 big journeys. So you can include some journey character unlock guides. And then I wouldn't include anything more than two big journeys. So for example, if you're going to say Executor is the way to go first, is the first big journey to go for, which I think is good. You can have that in maybe 8 to 9 months as a new player. And then you go for a Galactic Legend after that, for example, SLKR. That's 2 big journeys. That's going to take you to at least a year and a half. And I would say if you're doing both of those, it's going to put you closer to the 2-year mark. So I wouldn't, put a guide that's more than that. I mean, it's just this game changes so much. Again, I've been playing for 2.5 years. It's changed dramatically since I started, and you have to be able to shift. You can't put a plan in place that's more than that because new things will come into the game. Things will change. Where characters are farmable from, where income is from. So keep it to two big journeys. Unless you're doing, maybe like a mid to a late tier late game guide, then you can change it up a bit. You start to build things faster as you have higher GP. And then let's just go to things to exclude quickly. So these things are what you should definitely not put in your guide. So you should not be farming Phoenix. I think in the past Phoenix was good because it was really one of the first teams you could really see the synergy of the full team. They're really cheap to and easy to farm up to 7 stars, pretty easy to gear. They do fairly well, let's say, in Galactic War, and that's something I didn't put. Galactic War, making sure that you focus on that early with the right teams. But Phoenix is good. Yes, they can lead you to get Palpatine, but there's a lot of other rebels you should probably just build first to get Palpatine. Thrawn is a good character, maybe not as powerful as he once was. Yes, you're going to need him later for different Galactic Legend unlocks. You might need him for his ship, the Chimera, but it's something that you don't really need to worry about until I would say at least after the 4 million. You can go back and farm them once you're start ready for those. But don't farm this. Just focus on things like Geos and Imperial Troopers first. Like I said in the last slide, like keep it to 2 big journeys. Don't make a guide that takes more than 2 years. Like no one has time for that. Again, the game has changed so much. Like I've been just over 2 years, and I've changed how I go about things all the time. You can have a plan at this point when you're kind of mid tier, like a 3 to 6 month plan, but after that the game is going to change. If you're a new player, having something that's a 1.5 to 2 year plan, a guide based on that. Again, 2 big journeys will take you 1.5 to 2 years to get. I think that's fine. And then, build those core teams, build towards that. As you start approaching the completion of those 2 journeys, see how the game has changed, and like go find other, mid-game guides that can help you. But don't start with like a 3-year plan from the start. It's just like not feasible, and it's not going to work. In line with that, like don't have a guide that tells you you need like this is the order to farm, 3 galactic legends. Again, 2 big journeys is going to take you at least 2 years, one and a half, maybe if you do executive first. If you try to go 2 GLs, maybe it will be 2 years. I think I got my second GL like right at 2 years again with spending money on the game. So don't have a guide that's telling you okay you need by your fourth GL, talking about how you farm the order of the 4 GLs. Now, if you want to have like a galactic legend order that you should farm these just in general, I think that's fine. But for a farming guide, really based for new accounts, new players, you don't need to have a guide that has more than 2 GLs in it. Don't just do again like a guide that's showing you how to unlock or what characters are required to unlock the all the journey characters. I mean, again, that's something that you can go and you can see in game who you need. But the guide needs to be focused on like what is the most efficient and the best way to kind of build your roster to advance in this game. Again, building income, advancing, hopefully helping your guild, helping your performance in Grand Arena. Um, yeah, I mean, it's cool to see all like what you need to unlock all the journey guide characters and how they relate, but you don't need all the journey guide characters. Like I said earlier, you can go back and get them. I've been 2.5 years. I still don't have them all. I think I have all the most of the original ones, um, but I don't have all of them. So you can go back and use these journey characters kind of like as a, between one big journey and the next, you can do, maybe go unlock like a smaller journey. I think that's a good idea. Definitely don't use Sith Internal as your first GL. Like it's just, yes, he might be the easiest to get because his requirements are not, terrible. You can, if you're going to build Imperial troopers early, which I suggest you're going to have a lot of this stuff done. Vader is your first relic. Absolutely, I should have included that on the last slide. Putting Vader as your first relic, definitely you should do that. But don't build C as your first GL. And once you already got one GL and you're at 1.5, 2 million GP, don't go and build C as your second GL either. Like it's just he's not worth it at this point, right? And I wouldn't put like an hour by hour, detailed farming guide. Like again, try to keep it. Try to keep the. Sorry, I didn't put this on the left side. Like I think the farming guide video should be 20 to 25 minutes max. Like anything longer than that, people are gonna get bored. Like it's cool to see exactly where you farm each character and the order you do it. I think there's value in that. Maybe for brand new players, I think it could be valuable. But most people, like if you kind of put a general guidance on like these are the phases you should get the characters, I think it's fine. But some people maybe they like to watch hours long videos. I mean, I listened to a 2 hour podcast of people critiquing other people's videos, so who knows? Um, but personally, I think it's hard to follow that. I mean, yes, it's good to have people that are really into the details, but it's a bit long. And then just a few bonus things real fast. So I think if you can put some guidance on how you can leverage the different events that are in this game, like the galactic chases. So when maybe new ships or characters are coming out of conquest before they go into to proving grounds, and they have like a week long where you can get these as bonus drops on hard node farms or whatever, telling players how they can leverage that is really useful. How they can leverage double drops and like how they can hoard up energy before those double drops, or the value of basically increasing the amount of crystals you spend on refreshes during double drops, I think is valuable. So we're coming up on the May 4th double drop event. I think it's like 4 days long. That's a great time for new players to start because you're going to have one accelerated character farms. The value that you're going to get from your energy and your crystals is going to basically double. So I started an account, my alt account, 2 years ago, which I no longer play, and I did a guide on the EA forums. I'll try to link below. You can check it out. But and I was giving guidance on how you start, and I started right around the double drops. I think I started during the May 4th event, so I was able to build like super fast. I went for Phoenix, so don't listen to my guide now. It's not the right, and I actually had Sith Eternal as the first GL that I proposed, so don't listen to it now. It's obsolete, but I think things like leveraging how to take advantage of this is key. Highlighting the importance of Discord in the community. I mean, you're going to have so much information available through maybe other YouTube creators, their specific Discord, which is a big community that is already always out there to help. This is where you're going to find the best places to get into guilds or get guidance. So definitely, push that. If you want to wear a suit, I think you'll get some cheers for that. And then if you have some good infographics, I mean, I think it's cool to I just have some basic slides here, but if you have some infographics to show, I think it really improves the quality of the video. So do that if you're into editing and you're good like that, which I am not. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, I hope this was interesting to people that are maybe thinking about making Swaga farming guides out there. I'm gonna try to take a stab at it. Maybe hopefully next week. I want to try to do it before the May 4th. So I'll try to take a stab at it. Um, it'll be hard to keep it like 20, 25 minutes. Like we're already 20 minutes here. It's fast. So I need to see how I can do that. But I'll try to take a stab at it. Let me know what you guys think. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Please like the video and leave any feedback down below in the comments. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.